Hi, and welcome to In the Front Row, all things news, reviews, and interviews. My name's Jamie Lee, and today I'll be doing a review of episode 2 of the Disney Plus series Miss Marvel. And I need to start this video by backflipping on everything that I said last week because apparently all that I needed to separate the two different characters that Matthew Lintz plays from The Walking Dead to Miss Marvel was purely the fact that I needed to feel sorry for him, because in this episode, I felt sorry for him. I felt really sad that he was put in the positions that he was in the friend zone. And yeah, whatever issues I had going on last week about being able to separate the two was completely gone. You know, he is now Bruno to me. And I feel sorry for Bruno, but yay for my issues being out of the way. So I remember saying in my first video about episode 1 that this is very teenager. And even though, yes, it's a superhero series, it's also targeted at youth and everyone else is just along for the ride. And, you know, there's a lot of teenage parties and there's a lot of high school drama and first crush. And I can see where a lot of people would turn off from that. But I really enjoy that sort of stuff. So I'm really enjoying this series. I think all that sort of stuff is really cute and really sweet. And I really enjoy watching it, to be honest with you. Specifically in this episode, I really enjoyed from episode 1 where Kamala went through the halls of the high school and she was like, I don't want to say a nobody, but she was not really recognized. She was not really acknowledged. And in this, when she gained her powers, she came in the halls bouncing around like a whole new girl. She was empowered. She was confident. She spoke up to the teacher. She spoke up to the girls at the locker. By finding her power, she found her voice and she found her confidence. And I think things like that transformation in high school, it's just really sweet and it's nice to watch. Speaking of transformations, I really like that straight off the bat, they told us that her powers are not from the bangle, that, you know, the bangle activated her powers and now she has the powers. And I think that was really, really important because in the game, as I mentioned last week, she gained her powers from an attack, you know, and this mist basically gave her powers. So the powers were within her. They weren't a bangle or a bracelet or anything to do with that. So last week when they were going in that direction, I thought, oh, wow, that's very different because what if she's not wearing the bangle when, you know, something bad happens and she has to save the world or whatever? Or what if the bangle gets destroyed, something like that? So yeah, it was good to know that, you know, that bangle or that bracelet or whatever activated her powers and now she actually has powers. And even though the bangle isn't what's giving her the powers, I really am curious to see how that all ties in with Kamala's mum. Obviously there's some sort of history there and they started to bring that up, you know, when they're around the dinner table and we got the history of her mum and why she fled India and things like that. So yeah, I'm interested to see the origin of the bracelet and how that all ties in with Kamala's mum. I think that's really interesting. And yeah, this episode really started to flesh out other characters that are in the show and in Kamala's life. Yes, we saw a little bit with the mum, but we also saw a little bit with Bruno. He got accepted into a different school that's in California, pretty far away, obviously. But a lot of this episode was, or I think the most important stuff in this episode was to do with Nakia, the best friend. And I remember saying in my first video, I know I keep saying that a lot, I'm so sorry. But I did say in that I liked that this series is tapping into the race and the religion, because I feel like superhero shows don't do that, or the ones that I watch anyway don't have any sort of you know, race or religion being really highlighted in those series. So I feel like this one is really doing that. And I thought it was really, really nice that, you know, Nakia was talking about how she feels judged by her color tone and explained why she wears the headscarf and why she feels comfortable in doing that, and explaining that she wants to be a voice for Muslim girls and stand up for women and things like that. Because there is a lot of differences that they're pointing out between the men and the women, you know, the comparison between the mosque scenes there, where she was saying that, you know, molds growing on the floor of their side and yet the men get a better view and things like that. And even when she did speak up or got called out for speaking up, it was sort of yes, I appreciate you have a voice, but can you not speak when I'm speaking? And I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of issues that were brought up in this that Muslim girls or Muslim women could relate to. And I mean, I can't speak on behalf of them because I can't relate at all. But I feel like including them and having somebody represent them is really important because, you know, hopefully Muslim girls who are watching this can relate and feel empowered. You know, Naki is standing up and being a voice and speaking up, so I can too, sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's really good that those cultural differences and things like that are being addressed in the show. Okay, on to the hottie, Kamala's crush. I love that when he got out of the pool, that little scene there, you know, all around his body was hot 100, hot 100. It was just so cute, really sweet. I know that they're setting up that he was like baiting her and things like that, but I don't know, part of me feels like he might not be such a bad guy. I feel like when he was trying to say like, oh, she was trying to explain to him like what her army was and stuff, and he's like, I know what that means, you know, I can relate to you. You might have to explain yourself to Bruno, but you don't have to explain yourself to me, we're the same. So I feel like, yes, that might have been like a cultural thing, but I also feel like maybe that he's got powers as well, and it was sort of like I can relate to in other ways, maybe not, I don't know. But I know that they're setting him up to be a bad guy because when I was editing like a little scene to put on my shorts, I did rewatch that scene where he first met her in the hallway, and literally the song playing over top is like, come on. And I just thought, they are literally telling us that this guy's bad. You know, how did we not see that coming? I mean, some people didn't see it coming. My husband did, but I was like, oh, she's in love, he's cute, whatever. But no, he's bad. Or is he? I really enjoyed the car scene in this episode, but I know this is just me nitpicking, but I was like, this guy looks way older than teenager, but let's say that he's a teenager. Firstly, do you guys not have your L's over there, like your learners? You aren't allowed to be driving with that many people. You should be driving with somebody who's on their opens. And yet you're driving around with like a car full of kids, like late, which here, even when you like upgrade to your provisional license, you still aren't allowed to drive with that many people at night. I think you're allowed like one other person apart from the person who's on the opens. So I was like, I don't know about this. But anyway, I love when Kamala was like, oh, I love your uncle's car. I really love the color. And Bruno was like, black? Like just so bland and so sarcastic. I really felt sad for Bruno in this scene specifically, you know what I mean, when he was like putting his head between the two of them, trying to separate them, because, you know, surely Kamala can see by the way that he's acting that he likes her. I mean, were we that oblivious in high school? I know that we fell for the bad guy and, you know, the good guys were often friend zoned, but you can see it, like he's making you gloves and, oh girl, open your eyes, you don't want that bad guy. And even the scene, you know, oh, we're not going to that party, and then she sees the hot guy and the hot guy's going to go to the party and she's like, we should really go to that party. It's so very high school, and it really captures how we were or how people are as teenagers in high school, I think. Another thing that really made me sad to do with Bruno was when he was trying to convince Kamala to, this was in episode 1, but when he tried to convince Kamala to, you know, ask her mum if they could go to AvengerCon, and she didn't want to do it and she was so hesitant about doing it. And then in this episode, she was like head over heels for the hottie. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. But anyway, him. And she asked her mum, like straight away, no hesitation, can I go to the party like that? And I just thought that goes to show like how much she doesn't love Bruno, that she didn't want to, you know, take those risks for him, and yet she's going to do it for someone who she's barely even knows, just met sort of thing. So onto things that I enjoyed, not made me sad, was these scenes. I completely cracked up at this.
You're looking at Haram things on the internet. We called you haram.com, Ron.
Don't know why I found it so funny, but I did. And then she was asking, you know, am I related to Thor? I thought those scenes were quite funny as well. And then, of course, this scene.
What makes you think you have Iman powers?
Because we're both charming and we look a lot younger than we are.
I mean, Paul Rudd, we all know he's the man that never ages. He is just so gracious and so beautiful. Perfect. Anyway, I enjoyed all of that. And I love that they're keeping the theme of the cute, bright, and creative visuals in it. I've said it in my last video, I know, but I really enjoyed the text exchange scenes. I think that's something that's new, very creative and extremely different, something that I don't really see in shows. So I'm really enjoying that. I think it's really cool. There were 2 issues that I guess I could pick on if I wanted to be nitpicking. The first one for me was Black Widow's death scene, where like Kamala was holding on to Bruno and she's like, you gotta let me go. And, you know, that was completely imitating Black Widow, but I was sitting there thinking like, oh God, what is this? Do you know what I mean? Like, do I cry? Do I laugh? Because to me, that's not funny, especially when like she got up and she was like, huh, like it was only a small drop. And I was like, oh my God, Black Widow didn't get up, honey. Black Widow did not get up. I don't know. I didn't, maybe it was supposed to make people laugh, but I was sitting there like, I'm gonna cry. This shit still hurts me, even though it's been years. Like, oh, I don't want to see that again. And then I wanted to make a short on it because I was like, oh my God, the comparisons. And so I made a short on it, and that was a bad idea because I was like, oh my God, Nat died. And I had to rewatch that scene, which made me sad again. So I was like, oh, thanks, Marvel. But anyway, that was one thing that I could like nitpick and say, why was that in there? Or not why was it in there, but what was the point of that, I guess? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being dumb. And the other nitpicking thing is I really want to see who the enemy is. Are they setting it up to be Kamala's crush, or is it supposed to be Kamala's crush's mum? Or is it supposed to be the government agency? Because the government agency to me are like not threatening at all, pretty much. Like they kind of seem pretty dumb if they're going after Zoe and like can't even find Kamala. So I'm not quite sure who the enemy is. And like this is only 6 episodes and 2 are down. Don't get me wrong, I love the pacing, like the way that they've spread out those 2 episodes are good, but I would have liked to have probably seen like, I don't know, some sort of villain starting, and maybe they are by the very end of that episode. But yeah, I'm just like, you know, we've got 4 left. We need to sort of get to know this villain, and then you need to get to know your powers, and then you need to defeat this villain. So come on, let's meet someone. But yeah, we might have met them for all I know. I don't really know anything about the comics, so he could be the baddie like they foreshadowed. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm liking it. Are you liking it? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, can you give this video a like if you liked it? And if you're not already, please subscribe to my channel and then head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well, please. Okay, sweet as. Have a good day. Bye.